One.
Happiness. How do you define happiness? In my mind, each individual's happiness is best represented by a thumbprint. There are 7 billion people in this world, and no pursuit of happiness is identical. So, instead of trying to generalize happiness, I will share with you today what happiness means in my life. I've managed to sum it up into about 5 key points. But first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. When I was a bit younger, probably through the ages of 7 to 12, I had a lot of fears and worries that were considered irrational or abnormal for a young girl my age, or for any age at all. To this day, I still battle with these fears and worries. The only difference is that over time and with help, I learned to manage them properly. I was diagnosed with a syndrome called Fragile X. And although the main factor of Fragile X is the high rate of not being able to produce healthy children, there are other many different components of Fragile X that not very many people know about. For one, the condition made it very hard for me to learn, and it caused me to obsess over things like my mother's health and safety, our income, and the money we spent. I spent so much time stressing about these two things that it made it hard for me to sleep. It would keep me up for hours at night until finally I would get up, crawl into my mom's bed, just for the sense of security, knowing that she was with me and knowing that she was okay. I would have horrible dreams and night terrors about losing her. I experienced stress levels that were considered to be extreme for a young girl my age. Eventually, I was put into a therapy group with other kids that had similar worries to mine. There, I learned the importance of living life for today, which happens to be my first point. There is absolutely no use in worrying about what happened yesterday or what is to come. The past is the past, and there's nothing you can do about that. And if you waste all your time worrying about tomorrow, you'll never fully get to enjoy what you have today. Although this didn't completely eradicate my worries of my mother's well-being, it did help me to cope. It gave me something a little more positive to think about. Through focusing on the positivities of today, I was able to stress less about tomorrow in the future. Stressing less about tomorrow meant, for me, living a happier childhood. A few years later, my mom came across this sailing camp where kids get to spend a week and a half on a tall ship to get the true sailing experience. She had tried out sailing a few times when she was younger, and she really wanted me to try it out as well. I, on the other hand, was not too thrilled about the idea. First of all, I wouldn't have my mom by my side for that week and a half. Second of all, I would be trapped on a boat with a whole bunch of people I had never met before. Thirdly, boats always seemed to be infested with spiders. And let me tell you, I was not down to share my bunk bed with an 8-legged freak. But my mother insisted that I try it out. Somehow, she knew that I would love it, and I did. From the moment I stepped foot on that boat, I knew I had encountered a new chapter of my life. I sailed seasonally for 6 years, spent almost every weekend volunteering in the winter, met amazing people, and reached new ranks I never thought I would. Sailing brought a new type of happiness to my life, and that's where I bring the second point that I want to share with you today. Happiness can sometimes be found outside your comfort zone. Never be afraid to try something new or to meet new people, because you may end up finding something that you love, something that makes you happy, something you never would have found had you not tried something new or stepped out of your own comfort zone. The third and fourth points that I have today are some things that my amazing mother taught me. The first one being that happiness resides in the smaller things in life. Finding happiness in the smaller things in life is a lesson that got me through a heck of a lot in my life. When I was having a rough time, for example, my best canine companion would somehow always know. She would walk on over and she would lay her pretty little head on my lap and she would just stare at me with those deep brown eyes, letting me know that she was always there for me. This simple and little gesture made the world of difference. Other small things, such as smiles and hugs, have actually scientifically been proven to release endorphins that automatically make you feel better. It doesn't even matter if the smile is a real, genuine smile. It's funny because after my mom told me this, whenever I was feeling down, I would flash a random smile. It didn't matter if I was on a bus, in the school ground, in a classroom, or by myself. I looked like a goof, but it really did seem to help. The second thing she taught me about happiness is that being happy with yourself is a crucial step to ultimate happiness. It took me a few years to learn this one. I was never completely happy with my appearance, and I was always worried about what other people thought of me. Because of this, I was never truly happy. I was never confident enough to just put myself out there. Eventually, I started to surround myself with people who made me feel more comfortable with who I really was, and I was able to let my true colors show. I stopped worrying so much about my appearance and what people thought about me, and I was able to let go and have more fun. I think this is something that everybody learns as they get a little older. This final point may be the last that I present to you today, but it is certainly not the least, and that is to make happiness a habit. This is probably one of the more important points that I have on my list. Make it a habit to do what you love, to find happiness with who you are and the smaller things in life. Try new things, and remember to always find happiness in what you have today, because today is all we have.